Okay, don't freak out, but I think I figured out how to fix 5th edition Rangers. Stay with me here. Rangers have been the butt of the joke since 5th edition was first released, and I honestly can't blame the community for ragging on it so much. After all, when you compare a Ranger's base features to those of every other class, it just falls flat. There's very little in a Ranger's wheelhouse that another class can't do equally, either with their own base features or with a spell. Take fighting style, for example. Let's face it, you're better off playing a fighter. You'll get the same options, plus an additional 2 to choose from later down the line. Action Surge will give you more opportunities to hit with archery, and pairing it with dueling will let you deal more damage. And because fighters are proficient with heavy armor, your AC will be higher if you choose defense too. Rules as written, Ranger only has a grand total of 9 spells that are exclusive to its class, and none of them are particularly unique in that you can replicate most of their effects with spells from other classes. Hell, Hunter's Mark isn't even really a spell anymore. Rangers are so underpowered that they just made it into a core class ability in Tasha's. And a lot of their remaining spells require a ranged weapon to use, which means that the only fighting style worth using is archery. The other ones become useless. Primeval Awareness is basically just a shorter length Detect Evil and Good spell with a bigger range of effect, and a couple of additional things the caster can sense. And Vanish, at 14th level? Try Cunning Action at 2nd level as a rogue. Feral Senses and Foe Slayer are pretty neat, but also really underpowered for capstone abilities. And on top of that, Ranger has one core class ability that literally doesn't do anything except let you skip past the part of the game that your character is good at, which is traveling through the wilderness. I'm talking about Natural Explorer! Don't get me wrong. Deft Explorer is a decent alternative, but once again, anything you can do, I can do better. So then, what can we do to fix it? People have been trying to figure this out for years, myself included, and I think I might have finally struck gold. Pop quiz. What is the one thing that all the other classes have in common? They fill a thematic niche, and that niche is reflected in their core abilities. Artificers, sorcerers, warlocks, and wizards all draw from almost identical spell lists, but they each fill very different roles in a party. The same goes for barbarians, fighters, monks, paladins, and rogues as damage-dealing classes, and for bards, clerics, and druids as dynamic classes. So what the hell is a ranger's niche? This is where my homebrew replacement for Natural and Deft Explorer comes in. Introducing Resourceful Explorer, a core class feature that gives rangers easy access to imposing status conditions in and out of combat in a more versatile way than any other class, while still incorporating some aspects of Natural and Deft Explorer into the mix. Years spent in the wilderness have made rangers adept at ensnaring their prey and hindering their enemies. They know how to turn plants into poisons, how to identify creatures whose body parts can be used to brew potent potions, and how to set the most effective of traps. They have the right tool for the task at any given moment, and their resourcefulness makes them a dangerous opponent and a powerful ally. Here's how it works. At first level, rangers gain a pool of ranger points, equal to their proficiency bonus plus their wisdom modifier, and they regain any expended ranger points during a short or a long rest, just like sorcerers. As a bonus action on each of their turns, ranger can spend any number of points from that pool to impose a status condition, and that condition lasts until the start of their next turn unless otherwise stated. Some conditions will be familiar to seasoned D&D players, while others cannot normally be imposed without the use of magic, and a few are 100% unique to rangers. When a ranger hits a creature with a melee or ranged attack, they can expend 1 ranger point to blind, deafen, frighten, or poison it, or 3 points to trip it and knock it prone. They can use 2 ranger points to charm a creature that can see and hear them, to cure a creature of a disease or condition, or they can take 10 minutes to camouflage one willing creature against the surrounding environment, effectively rendering that creature invisible for the next hour. They can stabilize a creature that's been rendered unconscious, restrain a creature, remove points of exhaustion from their allies, provide stackable bonuses to an ally's ability checks, and even reduce the DC of an enemy creature's abilities. On top of all of that, they can expend ranger points to navigate without becoming lost, to track creatures and recall information about them, and to provide their party with temporary hit points by foraging for food. So in essence, you get all the bells and whistles of the original Natural Explorer feature, plus everything else I mentioned. I don't know about you, but I feel like if that was on the table to begin with, people would be arguing about whether or not Ranger is overpowered rather than whether or not it's useless. Now, to be fair, this hasn't been playtested yet, so it's possible that some of the point allocations might be a little bit broken, I can't really be sure. But it feels a lot more balanced to me. It feels a lot more in line with class features like Eldritch Invocations and Meta Magic. If you're interested in picking up a copy of Resourceful Explorer, you can find it on the DM's Guild. There's a link to it in the doobly-doo below. Tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think this is a good fix for Ranger? Do you think that maybe this is a little bit overpowered? Do you think it's still underpowered? I personally think it's great, but I'm obviously biased since I wrote the fucking thing. Listen, all I'm saying is that I would play the fuck out of Ranger if my DM let me use this feature. Thank you for watching! If you like this content, I still have a lot more to say, so this is the obligatory part where I say like and subscribe. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about next. I'm thinking about either talking about my ideas for how to fix swarms in 5th edition D&D, because frankly they're not great, or my ideas for how to make a simple stat block for a companion NPC. That's it. That's the video. I don't know how to close out this video, so I literally have written in my notes here just the most awkward ending possible, short of sitting in silence for a minute. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye. I'm not re-recording that. That's just gonna be it. That's the the exit. The exit? What did the outro? I can't words. I just spent this whole time. Fuck.